Hey, everybody. So I'm David Giesen. I'm head of operations and programs for Metallic, our SaaS division of Commvault.
Yeah. And I'm David Ngo, CTO for Metallic.
All right. So we wanted to give an update on Metallic. We launched a little over a year ago, last October, and I recognize a few of you from Commvault Go. When we launched, we had a large booth there and did a lot of press announcements and some partner events and different things around the launch, but we've come a long way in a year. And we're excited to tell you how our SaaS portfolio is doing. So what have we done in a year? One thing I'll say is we've been really pleased by the industry reception to this, to our SaaS portfolio. You can see one of the quotes here that we got tied to our Best of VMworld win, cloud-based backup done right for a change, which was just a really great validation of what we're doing here. So along the top, you can see some of the key roadmap items and announcements made over the last year to 14 months. We certainly added more remote workforce support with everything going on with the pandemic, geo expansion, new capabilities, new workloads, and a key partnership with Microsoft Azure that we announced as well. And our latest announcement, which Dave will take you through, is our hybrid cloud portfolio and how we're managing that for customers on their hybrid cloud journey. So then here are some of the awards and kind of stamps of approval from the industry, and we're excited to tell you more about this. So what have we done? Just this quarter alone, we've tripled our country availability and doubled our product offerings. So what does this mean? Right here, you're looking at a map of our service availability for the Metallic Backup as a Service solutions, as well as an offering called MCSS. That is purely a cloud backup target by Metallic. It's not the full SaaS solution. We've also allowed people to only leverage the cloud backup target component if that's what they need. Think of it as a way to have a managed service for your cloud storage and helping you get easy access to the cloud. We call it the easy button to the cloud. You can see here where we're available today in terms of service. And then in terms of transactability, we can be purchased in 14 countries and growing. So last year, Metallic was US only at launch, and we've rapidly scaled, and we continue to do so. Doubling our product offerings, which Dave will get into. Honestly, I'm just really the opener for Dave, like, let's be honest. But let's talk about how we're doubling our offerings here. So we rolled out last year with 3 subscriptions along the top here. Our Metallic Core Backup, which was really VM focused, Office 365 backup and endpoint. And now we have all these different subscription types and add-ons like eDiscovery that customers can choose from. And they're all tiles in the product. You can try out more than one at a time. They each have a free trial offering. And they're really geared toward helping customers with their hybrid cloud journey and any issues that they're experiencing here. So think about these new offerings along the top: VM and Kubernetes, database backup, file and object backup. This is enabling us to have new conversations with customers and leverage the breadth of Commvault capabilities now offered as SaaS. A great example, these 3 give you the ability to either leverage the embedded cloud storage target, a full SaaS solution, or bring your own storage target in our SaaS Plus model. So I'll give you a quick customer example. We're now having discussions with a very large retailer in the US that has enterprise-sized databases, multi-petabyte, that they are needing to back up. And they want to be able to leverage cloud, on-prem, and really do a hybrid approach, and Metallic can do that for them. So we're really able to have some new, great, differentiated conversations with customers versus the competition. So I will now turn it over to Dave to really get into this and what all of these different subscriptions are, starting with our Metallic Cloud Storage Service. That is the cloud storage separate from the SaaS solution. Over to you, Dave.
Thanks, Janet. So let's talk about the Metallic Cloud Storage Service a little bit. This is really interesting. It's one of the first integrations we've done with Complete and HyperScaleX with Metallic. This is meeting a real need. It's especially from a ransomware and ease of management perspective, where we are offering cloud storage as a managed service. We manage capacity, we manage provisioning, we manage the security of it. and we provide it to customers in such a way that it's extraordinarily easy. We're going to show you a little demo here in a moment. That's probably going to be the shortest demo of the day because it really is that easy. Customers don't really have to know much about cloud architecture, infrastructure in order to leverage cloud storage, and that's often the first thing that customers use when moving to the cloud. It's air-gapped, not just from a network connectivity perspective or even a format perspective, right? It's not disk. And so, Corey, to your question earlier, you were saying, ransomware is transforming in how it attacks customers. And so going after backup data, for instance, this is in a format that's naturally difficult to access. It's in a separate security domain, and the customers never get the access keys. This is actually one of the key points here as well, is that MCSS can help customers not only against external attack and breach, but also malicious insider, right? Because the data can only be accessed from Commvault software itself. It's very simple to configure and manage. Access is granted, or actually licensing is granted using normal Commvault licensing. But again, we don't transfer the keys, so in that license is not the actual data or security key that's required to get to the storage. So that's actually exchanged securely in the software itself. And then finally, it's really easy to predict and manage the storage. There are no additional costs that are challenging to understand sometimes. There's no egress fees. There's no transaction fees. Those are all incorporated into the software. So like Janet mentioned, it's really the easy button for cloud storage for our customers. So let's show a little demo of what it really looks like. So the demo starts right after the customer has applied the license, and that's a normal license as anything else. Here's a very simple area where we can configure cloud storage, either your own or Metallic. Metallic shows up as its cloud storage type. And really, it's that easy. You don't have to worry about the type of storage you're using. We give you a choice of regions. We have 14 regions around the world today. They give customers flexibility and the ability to comply with data residency requirements. And all you do is configure the storage, or you specify it as a target when configuring one of our plans. Here we're configuring deduplication. That's it. We're done. You can send data to the cloud. It's like magic, right? You don't have to worry about rotating keys or managing access or giving people access to your cloud subscriptions.
So what kind of metadata is tracked whenever a user uploads data to the cloud? Is Commvault keeping track of what users uploading data, or is data upload anonymous?
So the upload, and that's a great question. So I think the answer really is that we track the customer's entitlement cloud storage. So we know that from an administrative or a customer perspective that they have access to cloud storage. Otherwise, we don't have any access to the storage itself. The customer is using either complete on-premises or Hyperscale X. The encryption is done on the customer side of customer data, and those encryption keys are kept on premises. So the customer really has control over their data end to end, even though we're managing the storage for them.
So, like for threat tracking. Sorry, early morning brain's not working.
No, that's okay.
So say some bad malicious data is uploaded to the cloud. Does the user have the ability to go back and track what user uploaded that data?
Oh yeah, so great question. So that storage, since it's only accessible through Commvault software, all of the controls that we have in place for the software, all of the metadata that we understand at ingestion time when we back up or protect a workload. For instance, we can track ownership of files, right? We know who owns which files using Active Directory integration, for instance. So that data is all tracked on the software side on the customer premises, just as if they were doing it to their own cloud storage or to a disk array on premises. That's all kept. So those features all come along for the ride. when the customers use MCSS. And then you also know you have complete control over what data is moving to this cloud storage. And so as an administrator, you can do that mapping.
Awesome.
And then Corey, if it helps, from a GDPR standpoint, this service qualifies as us being a data processor. So the customer does have control. So that is our role in it, if that's helpful.
Yep, we're a data controller. Yep.
Awesome. Janet was
processor,
peeking into my brain a little bit on where that question was going.
We are a processor.
This sounds GDPR related.
Thank you.
I'd like to jump on the back of that question in terms of, do you get to select what region this data is sent to and where it's replicated to make sure it stays, inside the US or inside Europe? That would be my main question. What level of control do you have there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So absolutely, you can pick the region. We have 14 right now. I think 4 or 5 in the US, 1 in Canada. I think 4 or 5 in Europe. 1 in the UK, for instance, since no one knows what's going on in the UK. 1 in Germany, because Germany keeps its data separate from everybody. Mm-hmm. But these are, right, so we have that kind of regional control available for our customers. And we are backed by Azure, right? So, right, so the replication pairs there, it is locally replicated because it's intended to be a secondary copy, right? So following 3-2-1 rules, this is the one, right? Offsite replicated, right?
Right. That answers I was going to ask you if you were building your own data centers or if this is, using a public cloud. So it's using Azure. Are you using the zone redundant storage option to keep it in separate data centers within an Azure region?
We're using locally redundant.
Okay.
So LRS.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So 3 copies in the region.
When I need to get my data back out of MCSS because I have to recover something, is there some sort of acceleration or a way to get it faster? Can I request a drive with all this data? Especially, if I've got like terabytes that I need to recover, pulling it back down from the cloud, it's not going to be that fast, right?
Right. Exactly. And I think that comes to, if you're looking at a 3-2-1 data protection strategy, right, kind of going back to our roots here, the capability to have a copy on premises, as Rahul was mentioning earlier, is critically important. You'll actually see that in a minute here when we talk about Metallic and SaaS Plus, that if you have on-premises workloads, you really want to have on-prem copies of your data to match or meet your RPOs and RTOs. That said, having cloud data come from the cloud, we have very good performance bringing data down from the cloud for restore, particularly because most customers, when they're doing a restore, it's very granular, right? It's not often that you have to, the situation you're talking about, terabytes of data, it's not often that it happens. 90+% of recoveries are usually something like a few files or one database or one VM or a handful. Usually that's not what happens. So we don't have to. We usually run into that situation. It's certainly possible, but we don't do it. We don't run into it often.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
With the keys being kept locally on the customer's site, do you have any way of helping them out if their keys get caught up in a ransomware attack and they can't recover their data themselves?
Absolutely. And that comes back to what Jeff was talking about just before this, the recovery services that we have. So there are a number of ways, both built into the software and other offerings that we have in order to protect that key vault, right? So you can use an external key management system. That's perfectly fine, like a KMIP compatible system. You can also protect the key vault that Commvault software has in general and protect that against ransomware. So all the layered defenses that Rahul spoke about and then the services that Jeff spoke about, those combined together in order to give you a strong defense or a secure storage for those keys. So Janet mentioned the hybrid cloud offerings. We're really excited about this. We've already had the end user data protection through endpoint data protection as well as Office 365. And here what we're really introducing is the ability to protect workloads not only on premises but in the cloud with a SaaS data protection solution. We introduced this a few weeks ago, expanding on the server-side workloads we had already supported, which included things like VMware and Microsoft SQL Server. We added things like Kubernetes. You'll hear a lot more about that from Matt Erickson after this. But we also added expanded support for VMware in the cloud, VMC on AWS, AVS, for instance. We added native Azure VM support. So no infrastructure required for that. We'll talk a little bit more about that in detail in the next few slides. What's really different about Metallic is that it does in fact leverage Commvault technology. And from a best practices perspective, we give customers the storage that they want and that they need. We give them cloud storage with our endpoint and O365 offerings because those are distributed data sources and because it's SaaS to SaaS protection. So the storage is included and it's controlled by Metallic.
Is that
I'm sorry.
Is that a suite or is that just the mailbox or something like that? Because if you dive deeper into some of the offerings that you have for Office 365, they just do the mailbox and some OneDrive and that's it. But if you for SharePoint Online or Projects Online, then they don't have any support for it.
Yeah, no, thanks, Arjun. Great question. It is the suite. So we protect Exchange Mail, SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, Project Online, everything that the APIs give us access to, we protect. And that's a great differentiator for us. And one of Commvault's core philosophies is that we provide that complete data protection. Our customers don't want part of their data back; they want it all back, right? So that's critical for our customers. So here with O365 data protection, unlimited storage is included. Same thing with endpoint. But with hybrid, one of the things that our customers really told us, and what we found over our years of data protection, is that having a copy of your data close to your production workloads is critically important. And for a SaaS data protection solution, a backup as a service solution like Metallic, where everything is running in the cloud, that's presented challenges to customers with other such solutions in the market today, where they hit a natural limit of scale, right? Because, Ned, to your point, they can only transfer so much over the wire, right? So we gave customers not only the ability to bring their own storage, they can use Azure or AWS storage from their own subscriptions, and we won't charge them for that, but we will also give them the capability to have a real on-premises backup copy, which we will select for fastest restore automatically if they have it. They don't even have to tell us where their data is. We'll go get it for them. And we don't charge them for that either. So it's a real backup copy on premises with all the benefits that we bring with encryption, deduplication, a hardening against ransomware, complete control over how much data you have on-prem, how much is in the cloud, with different retentions. That's all the control that we give you. And that allows us, as Janet mentioned, to be talking to customers at multi-petabytes of scale, because we don't have to insist that they have, a terabit network connection, right, for their data sets. This really allows them to scale their data protection to meet their needs, even when using and getting all the benefits of a backup of service solution like Metallic. So talking about some of our offerings a little bit in more detail, Metallic File and Object, to emphasize each one of these offerings you can buy separately. They're priced and licensed differently too. So File and Object pricing is different than database pricing, for instance, right, to match the value that our customers expect. What's interesting about this, we support Windows and Linux and Unix file systems, right, all the open systems here. We also protect new storage types like Azure Blob. What we're seeing is that customers in hybrid situations are often building new apps or refactoring their current apps, and they're using object storage as primary storage, right? And they find themselves with the need to protect that, and that's been challenging. So we're one of the few products in the market today that can, in fact, protect blob storage. Databases, you can see that we started with SQL last year. We're adding SAP HANA to this. HANA is particularly interesting because there's a strong push or strong interest from customers to run HANA both on-prem and in the cloud. And this is something where we can give fully functioned backup and recovery capabilities to those customers for these very critical workloads No one buys SAP HANA to track their record collections, right? It's always something super critical, super important for them. Leveraging cloud scale is important, and being able to match their data protection to that is also critical in a service. And this one is particularly interesting, and we're excited about this. So Metallic VM and Kubernetes, this is licensed on a per instance basis. So it's not capacity based. The other two are, right? Front end terabytes. We track on the front end, not the back end. So not how much you store, but how much you back up. And here we've added, as I mentioned earlier, some significant cloud VMware capabilities with AVS and VMC on AWS. We've also added, as I mentioned, Azure VMs with no infrastructure required. So customers can sign up for Metallic and have a pure SaaS experience because it's all in the cloud, right? It's SaaS to SaaS. And that's what they want when moving workloads to the cloud. They don't want to necessarily purchase software the way they have before. They're looking for all the benefits of SaaS, just like they looked for all the benefits of cloud, right? And also, one of the things I'd like to call out here is Kubernetes. It's an advanced workload for everyone, but there's a really great push in the market or adoption rate from our customers moving to Kubernetes. It's a great technology that really has a lot of mind share in the market today. We're one of the only data protection solutions that has a GA product right now through Kubernetes.
And one thing to add on to that is that we are actually offering for customers that sign up for this in the first 6 months that they get Kubernetes backup for free for the lifetime of their subscription. So we're actually doing a really rich offer on this one right now. We're seeing a lot of excitement about this since Kubernetes isn't usually an island. We want it to really work with our other solutions. And so we're doing a nice offer on that for our customers.